you spend 37 million on a 17-year-old? Whoa, what was that then? Did you see that come up with my name? That was mega, wasn't it? Anyway, moving on past that, would you spend 37 million on a player just 17? No, you probably wouldn't, would you? Unless that player was someone who has broken through and is definitely making an impact in a first team like Porto, competing at a decent level. That is Rodrigo Mora, Manchester United's next teenage target, apparently. But this has a little bit more to it. It's got a bit more juice to this one. All of that report and everything else that's going on tonight, including talks with Cunha, talks with Liam Delap. We knew this already last night, but there has been a development, and the development has come out in the last hour, so we'll talk about that. Also, we'll go through all of Chris Wheeler's reports, which everyone's talking about right now as well. Obviously names that we've heard about before. What's happening with Jack Morales, the future of him, more talks on the Wonder Kid, again another one from River Plate. How many more times? We've been through PSG, we've been through South America, we're now into Porto. I mean, how many more super kids do United want to buy? It's all good, it's all well, and everything is for the future of this football club. Like I said tonight, we do need players for now though. Could there be a 17-year-old for now? That is Rodrigo Mora, who I want to talk about right now. If you haven't heard of him or haven't seen him, he was the one who was on the bench that was being talked about when United went to Portugal with Ten Hag's team and scraped a 3-3 draw. Now, the situation with this, and if you don't know about Mora, you don't know who he is, then I'm sure somebody in the chat will tell you. No doubt, people who do watch a lot of football and are looking around, for instance, at the best young talent around. That has been the topic recently, so I think we've all done a little bit of our own homework when looking around at the talent going around. But this report come from Sport Witness and Ojogo are well from the Portuguese side of things. Now, I'll read into the report first of all so you can see exactly where we're up to with it and what's actually going on. But this is what is said. Manchester United have been linked with several talented youngsters ahead of the summer transfer window. Sunderland's Chris Rigg looking like a likely addition according to this report. We've not heard much on that recently, but he won't be alone either. And now, according to the Portuguese outlet Ojogo via Sport Witness, Porto youngster Rodrigo Mora has emerged as a target for Manchester United this summer. Now, he has been a target already for Manchester United. We have watched him, we have scouted him, we have been involved in Rodrigo Mora. So if you've heard the name, yes, it's probably because we have discussed this before. The 17-year-old talent has attracted United's attention with an impressive season for Porto in which he has become a regular fixture for the first team. Mora currently has a release clause to the value of 37 million. However, Porto are now trying to bring the clause up to a fee between 68 and 86 million as a direct result of his performances. Porto is said to be aware that United, along with PSG, are currently circling Mora ahead of the summer and intend to scare these two interested parties off with a raised valuation. The report also explains that there is a clause in his contract that sees his release fee rise to 57 million if this summer if he hits a certain number of games this season. Due to this, United will see the upcoming window as the best chance to sign Mora, as it is likely the cheapest he will ever be. One of them players that is just going to go whoosh in valuation straight away. And we know what Portugal are like for grabbing value. This is like a João Neves situation, only a little bit sooner right now. Now, we know that Porto will cash in on Mora eventually, but there is a chance right now with 2 years left on his contract there he has to get a certain amount of games and his price will go up. If they can fend off clubs that are interested in him this summer, then they've got a chance of getting a lot more money for him, and they know this. But, as always, in these situations, representatives of the player are just holding out because they know a lucrative, bigger deal is around the corner already for their clients, and they don't want to commit. 2 years is a good time to have in terms of a contract for someone at the age of Mora, especially if you're looking at this through agents' eyes, because you've obviously got time for the player to play a little bit more as well, grab a bit more value. You're safe in the contract that you've got 2 more years to run, but it gives you time to sort of spread out and contact a few people and find out what's going on. Look, his numbers speak for themselves. He's broke into the first team this season, into Porto at just 17. It tells you a lot. Incredibly versatile. Usually plays in anchor midfield, but he can play left wing, right wing. He can play central midfielder. So his options are 8, 10, wide, whichever way you wanted him to play. Versatile enough for a Ruben Amorim's system. He has accumulated 31 appearances now for Porto's first team. So this isn't a kid that's unknown. This isn't a kid that hasn't featured at all. He's also got 9 goal involvements this season for Porto. So realistically, they weren't looking like they were going to be playing him too much this season, but he's obviously burst onto the scene and done well, and he's now a mainstay in this Porto side. At 31, decent level experience as well. When you look at he's featured in the Europa League, all of the cup competitions in Portugal and the league, he is definitely making an impact for them, and I think Porto know that they're going to struggle to keep a hold of him. What they're looking at is to try and get the best price that they possibly can for him right now. So they are trying to get him into as many games as possible to get that clause. But it is a way off yet, according to the reports. And Mora is still, obviously, he's up for sale. Of course he is, if the right price comes in. There will be clauses. There will be something where Porto will try and drag out a little bit more money out of this, but this is a talented, very, very talented player. The only issue you've got with this again is you're spending a lot of money on an unproven Premier League player, and we shouldn't really be saying that. We should be trusting in the scouting system to go out and do their job and say that this player is going to fit. Now, Ruben Amorim likes this player. We know he likes this player. We know that he's been scouted by other clubs across Europe. We know that he is a threat. We know that, obviously, the likes of PSG, who we spoke about this morning, are going to be losing a few of their teenagers out of their academy this summer that United are looking to take. I've got room for another player like this. Obviously, they're looking to sell certain players out of PSG as well to make room. So when you look at everything that we've got right now, and everything that's up in the air and everything that's being discussed between every single club and every possibility of every player leaving their possible clubs this summer, whichever way you delve into the information, it's like everybody's for sale. And this is the summer when there's a lot going to be happening. There's going to be a lot of shift with PSR, with financial fair play, with the World Cup, with the last chance to move before the World Cup. There's a lot going on right now, and there's a lot of big clubs making significant moves with their academies. And obviously United are at the forefront of this, which is why you're hearing constantly every single day about Manchester United looking at the next best thing, the next best kid. We said it at the start. We've seen South America to South Africa to Africa to Asia to Europe to now the best talent in England. Like every single corner of the globe, Manchester United have got scouts looking at the best young talent out there. The only thing with Mora is, obviously, he's made it. And let's just do a comparison as to what the equivalent would be to what we're dealing with. Right now, you're looking at probably someone like Kobe Mainu. I've got a wasp in my room. I can't believe it. Summer's here, everybody. Get out of here, you little swine. Yes, wasp attack. Here we go. Summer's back again. Nice weather in Manchester. And here we go. Let's deal with it. Fuck out the way, you fucking... Sorry, everyone. He's going to absolutely terrorise me right now. He's been sent in. I'm telling you right now, he's a big bleeder. My God. He's just landed on my light as well. Got spies in the studio, everybody. Yeah, let's hope they're not as nasty at this time of year because they're just coming out, aren't they? But yeah, concentrate on the football, Adam. Don't worry about the wasp stinging you. God, it's a big boy, that one. My God. Anyway, yes, let's get into the comment section on this because we have got quite a bit to get through tonight. By the way, we are doing a watch-along. We're going to be on Big Up and on YouTube. I'll explain more later on. So that's going to be over on Football Talks later on. 7:45, we kick off on Big Up and Football Talks. So, yep, 2. I know, I will explain later, but just be there and around, and all will be revealed anyway. Got another announcement to come on Big Up as well later on as well, everybody, so make sure that you're there for that. Interesting night, Real Madrid versus Arsenal and all of that. So, yeah, plenty going on, but we got a big, lively live chat to get through right now in all of this. So, let's get into it. Cheers for all the likes as well, everyone. Good to see you. Plenty of likes in the house, over 100 already. Let's get commenting and talk to me. Right, I always wanted him on our left 10. The guy reminds me of a Tottenham's Luka Modric, says Fouchot. Look, everyone, I think anyone who watches a lot of football will know who this kid is. Imagine having that, Mora, Shirke and Ahmad as your 10s. I can't see all of them. I can't. There'll be a chance when we only have Ahmad, I think, more than likely out of any of them. Look, I'm not saying United can't get him. I just know that United right now are in a difficult position because of the money available, not being in Europe, so on and so forth, and everything that comes with that. Obviously, we know where we are. We know what is going on. And obviously, the bigger clubs are going to come in and offer maybe a little bit more. The other opportunity in that is, like I've said many times before, is that the player is young and he has got time to improve at United and probably has got a better chance out of all the big clubs of getting game time because there's so much being shifted around at our club. That's probably our selling point. But again, it's the money. 37 million for a 17-year-old. That sounds extortionate and sounds way out of our league, doesn't it? But he is a target for United. And again, it depends if the club are backing Ruben. Will the club back him to a point where we're paying that much money for such a young player? If they know that he has got the talent, they may not be bothered about investing that type of money in a player. But he has to be absolutely bang on the money. And right now, Ruben's probably got a year to start improving and showing Ineos that he's got something about him. And can we have a 17-year-old in who is never featured in the Premier League before? That's what you've got to ask as well. You just don't know, and ultimately, it's going to come down to that playoff. And well, that player is. It's the horrible thing. It's probably not ready. That's what you've got to say. Now, look, I might be doing him a disservice in saying that, but still, it's there, isn't it? We know he's unproven, and we know he's not ready to come in. And 37 million can go a long way elsewhere. And that's a first-team player, hopefully ready to play. So, yeah, how much do you trust in a 17-year-old kid? It's the question, isn't it? How many times have we said that already, though? We're not even into the window yet. We have to get to Mora this summer. We can't beat PSG to him. We already play exactly the same system as Porto. And we have the Portuguese manager leave Chelsea with Quenda and PSG with Neres. Third time lucky, it says Leon Football. Oh, I wish, mates. I wish. Out of here. You don't swear. Jamal says Mora is so technical and has so much flair. He's a must sign. That stuff that can't be taught. Great talent. See, lots of people who know all about him are saying you've got to get him and got to get this deal done. Mora is ideal for Ineos strategy. Could be 100 million player in a few years. So you've got that element to it as well. Will Ineos think financially, a Real Madrid in the future coming in? If you can get in for 37 million, do you invest in the future? But then again, you need the now. And that's what Manchester United don't have right now. And again, it's balancing what you could get in an investment with the talent alongside having to win in the immediate, which is what we haven't managed to do and what we're struggling with at the moment. He definitely needs help, Ruben Amorim. He needs that investment into his squad. But again, it's the risk, I think. It's a risk. But like everybody said, I'm totally in agreement with them. This kid is absolute pure quality. He really is. And 37 million, where it seems steep for a 17-year-old, you're probably looking at that more than trebling in about 5 years' time. And that could be something that they're looking at as well. And that, I feel, is probably why they're even contemplating it. Because it's a win-win on both situations, financially and obviously quality. Because he could be absolutely brilliant in the Premier League. We don't know. But again, it's a risk, isn't it? And no matter which way I try and big it up, and everyone's comments that are trying to convince me that this is the right way to go, and he is a brilliant player, he is. But I still feel like it's a massive risk for United. And I don't think I'm ever going to be able to convince myself that it is the exact player that we need. I see all of the positives, and I would like him at my football club, is what I'm saying. Again, it comes down to priorities and what is more important to Ruben Amorim right now and going into next season. He could smash it, he might not. Look. United buying 500 plus players, more than that. Real recognise Real are the realist, and sorry, someone talking to a few other people there and mentioning a few names. I thought he was talking about something else there. Hired him a curveball question. If we get Delap and Cunha, would you play Højlund as the right 10? Never in a million years. Not a chance, mate. Never. He has to play at number 9 or nothing. I don't think he's got the capabilities. He can't hold the ball up now in that sort of 10 position. He needs to be running over the top. He needs the creative plays around him so he can actually be a number 9. I don't want to be changing players from what we bought them in to be, is the answer to that question. Kareem says, I think we are good and need to go scout other targets. We don't have time to waste on all the youngsters in the world. Leon says, you get Mora and you get Cunha and we're done. Wages will be cheap. This fits what we want. There are lots of Mora fans in the chat actually right now. One thing's for sure, United will be getting a cam. The bridge, that brings the big question I've asked to the table. Bruno is being seen as the answer to the number 8 next season at the expense of getting Edison. Well, let's look at the other players we've got. If you're bringing the 10 in, does that automatically then, with Bruno still being there, being at the expense of a Garnacho and a Kobbie Mainoo? There's something else you can throw into that question. There you go. And that, I think, is something that not many people have thought about either. If Bruno drops in, where does Mainoo fit? Because Ugarte's not going to be dropped for Kobbie Mainoo. He can't play that role. He's definitely not what Ruben Amorim wants in that position. So it's Ugarte, it's Bruno, if we don't buy an 8 next season. So then you're looking at 10s coming in. So that takes Garnacho out. I'll just hit him down then. Bleeding wasp. That takes Garnacho out, and that takes Kobbie Mainoo out. So then you're looking at trying to find a place for them players again. And does that mean that they're available in the transfer market as well? There you go. And that, again, whichever way you look at Manchester United's situation, you want to bring a certain player in. It is to the sacrifice of another one that's already in the matchday squad right now. It really is, isn't it? Markesh, we are looking at absolutely everyone. It's not about first and second choices. It's all about what the best deals we can do. There's plenty of great prospects and talent. We just need to deliver for Amorim. There will be the right players there for United to get this summer. Convinced of that. Bruno is not the answer to the 8. Him and Ugarte pivot is taking us nowhere. No, it's taking us better where we was all season, mate, is what it's doing. And I know it's not the future, but them two there, I think, are more capable than sacrificing bringing a 9 in. And if it has to be a choice between an 8 and a 9, I'm sorry, the 8 is gone and the 9 comes in. It just needs must, mate, at the moment. Hi, Adam. I'm all for getting a great potential at the club, but I hope we are sensible with the budget. We need experienced players who are ready now. Cunha really does excite me. He is a must. And on that note, we might as well move on to the next bit of news, because Manchester United apparently right now, first of all, the news came out that Manchester United are poised to open discussions with the representatives of Matheus Cunha over a potential move to Old Trafford. Alongside him, Liam Delap, as preparations are made for the summer transfer window. That came from Gimme Sport. Then Ben Jacobs backed that up. And Manchester United are set to hold talks with Cunha's agent in the next few days, in fact. That's the latest news that's come out in the last hour regarding Matheus Cunha. Ben Jacobs was the one that was talking about this yesterday, and he has backed it up with even more news and more of an update today that Cunha and his representatives are talking to Manchester United over the next week. So that is going to be significant, I think, in knowing where Cunha's head is, I think, more than anything. In terms of what Matheus Cunha brings, we know all of this, but we don't know where his head is at with wages, what he thinks he can get out of Manchester United. Does he hold any cards in coming to United because he's got other options? And Manchester United are having to go out their way to get him. We're going to know a lot more out of this, and I think this is this initial touching base with an agent and obviously with the player himself to find out where he is at, because obviously we know he wants to move, we know he's going somewhere. We've heard rumours before about him actually and the people around him, according to Ben Jacobs, that he prefers to go to United. So if that is the case, do United get a good deal out of this because he wants to be at United? I.e., is his wages affordable? I think they will be. I don't think he'll be on anywhere near... He's not going to be on any more than 120 grand a week, I don't think. I think he'll fall in line with the rest of the players that we bought last summer. As in getting between, 80 and 100 and 1,830, I think is what it is. And if he's on a 6-year deal, then that's not a bad deal for Manchester United. We know what the price is. I don't think that's going to change in terms of Wolves' stance. They're not going to sell to a Premier League team, Premier League rival, for anything cheaper than what the release clause is. This is what was agreed when Cunha signed his contract in January. And the only way they would let him go is if someone did meet that target. So United know the script. They know what is necessary to bring him out of Wolves. They just need to try and balance that with a decent deal for him. And that's what they will look at. I think the value, the actual contract. And remember when we spoke about Kobbie Mainoo's deal the other day? And we talked about him and the structured contract where it will be one of them revolving ones where it gets better as United get better and as he performs better. Incentivised, basically. I think this is where everybody's at right now at United. And I think United would be happy to pay higher wages if United are competing at the top. And I think this is where it's going to be. So we'll see when these talks do happen, if they happen. Ben Jacobs is saying that they are. And interesting as well with, obviously, the season now drawing to a close. Wolves have got nothing to play for. Ipswich are pretty much down, obviously, after losing to Wolves at weekend. 12 points, then never making that up in the next 7 games. They've not got enough wins in them to do that. So Cunha and Liam Delap conversations now going full steam ahead. And it's going to be very interesting, like I said, as to what happens next with that conversation and where United are at, what they see as the right figure, and whether Cunha will actually accept it, and Delap for that matter, because obviously if Cunha's talking to Man United and Delap is as well, then it's open season. The agent's doing the rounds, and he's probably talking to other Premier League clubs as well. It's whether or not we can get in ahead of the other clubs and make that deal happen. If we have got a leg up and Cunha wants to be at United and Ruben wants him at the football club, then there's no reason why United can't make Matheus Cunha a Manchester United player. They need to be all in on this. And if they're not, then questions will be asked, obviously. Have we got the money? Were you just kidding us? And I think everything else that comes past that, I don't think will be looked at in the same way. I think Cunha fits so many different areas for United in terms of wanting to be there, Premier League experience as well, the right age, the right wages. The price isn't too high for me, I don't think, for a Monday footballer who has performed in the Premier League. And the versatility. He can play 10 and a 9. And he's definitely what Manchester United needs, I feel. Because the adaptability there in what Ruben can do with him, I think is massive. And it's been a big thing in most of the players that we've been linked with, don't forget, as well. I think that's a big thing in everything that's been spoken about so far with all of the players. But yeah, anyway, Cunha, looks like we're moving a little bit closer to negotiation times now, and I feel like we're in a place where we can start looking at this seriously as United fans. I feel, and I just don't. I don't see United not taking advantage of something like this. I know the price is big, but I do think that the option... I really do feel like the option is United for him. It just depends if we are going to be tight-wadded and not bid the right fee. We cannot... If we're going to... When I think about this, and the more I do think about this, it's like with Cunha, if we are actually going to negotiate with his agents, then we must have the money. Otherwise, what's the point? We know that it is going to take 60 plus million to take him out. If we're going to talk to the agent, then there's no point talking to the agent if we can't afford the player from Wolves. So straight away, it tells me that we are going to have the money in place. We must do if we're going to start talking to a player. So yeah, looking at that, I think we've got to assume that United feel comfortable if they're going to start talking to representation of the players. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Well, time will tell, and we'll see if anything does come of this. But Ben Jacobs has been quite consistent with this over the last couple of days, and I think that's what we've got to look at as well in this situation. Steve O says, Adam, do you think we will sign 2 cams and put Bruno in the midfield, which takes out the prospect of a central midfielder? There is a chance, mate. Yes, on that one, Steve O. There are names going around that United are looking at for 8, but not as, let's just say, what's the right wording for it? Not as convincing of stories as we're getting for the 10s and the 9 right now. As in Cunha, as in Trincao, as in the Dibblings and everything else. If you look at how strong the reports are, it does look like everything's moving towards 10s and 9s. The creative. Ruben talking about making that final third decision, being more clinical in the final third. They are getting into the positions, but we're not creating and we're not scoring enough. A 10 and a 9, I think, are exactly what Manchester United need. And I do believe it will be a right wing back. They're the 3. The rest, I think we'll have to wait. Personally, I think we will. Obviously, if we do well this Thursday, and we qualify for the semi-final, and we could somehow win the Europa League, that changes everything. It changes absolutely everything. And then you're looking at different types of players coming in, maybe. And maybe we could get 2 or 3 bigger players that are worth a little bit more. If United get Champions League, then I could see them going for a Cunha, a Delap, and a Mora, for instance. I could see them going for all of them players. If they didn't get Mora, they'd probably go for Trincao or someone like that. And maybe they would fork out 40 million for Tyler Dibbling. There are many options there for Manchester United when it comes to the 10s and the 9s, I think. I think that's where all of the noise is coming from. And you follow the noise, I think that's what United are going to be looking at priority-wise. It's got to be, hasn't it? Because that's where we've been lacking more than anything else this season. Defensively, we've held our own all season, haven't we? But we just don't score freaking goals. There is a link in the chat for my special video that I did earlier on. Please go and watch that after this show as well. Link in the live chat right there, everyone. So go look at that later on. Give me your thoughts on that, please, in the comment section. It's about the punditry and the so-called over-the-top criticism of certain United players. Interesting stories in that one as well. That will be the gap in between this show finishing and the watch-along later for Real Madrid and Arsenal on Football Talks. You will be redirected across to that. We will see exactly what everything is all about after, well, let's just say, I'm just thinking right now. I'm not going to give my score prediction on that one yet. Definitely not. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting night tonight anyway. And we are definitely in the realms of the unknown when it comes to the Champions League, apart from Real Madrid. And I think Real Madrid will beat Arsenal over 2 legs. Just my prediction on that one anyway. But we'll find out later on, won't we? We will find out later on. Now, obviously, in other news as well, Manchester United have been linked with several younger players, as we know this morning. Sully is in the chat as well, who breaks some of the news for us. Thank you, Sully. Again, who's been keeping us up to date with everything going on. There's a growing confidence behind the scenes at Manchester United that Jack Morales is in line to make a first-team debut before the end of the season. Another one. That's Seka Kone, that's Bendito Mantato, and Jack Morales alongside Chido as well, don't forget. All looking to push into the first team before the end of the season. Now, there was a big shout and a big movement for Morehouse to actually go on loan next season as well. It's the right move, I think. If he's not going to feature, and I think he will feature on the tour, if he's not going to be part of Man United's first team squad next season, get this kid out on loan and let him tear it up somewhere. Because he will. He is absolute quality. And some. I tell you right now, and you've seen the videos. You've seen this is where United are actually at. I feel, and when you look at all the players that we're trying to bring in, and you look at all of the players that we've already got at youth level, there has to be some big loans. There has to be some big loans this summer, and some big decisions. And when we talk about the football director and everything that's going on, Wilcox, the technical director, and everything that they're doing. You also have to look at that and say they must be organising the loans for some of Man United's academy players as well for next season and trying to make them fit wherever they're going out on loan as well, because they need the game time. They definitely need the game time. If you didn't also see the report earlier on as well, Manchester United have given Andre Onana and his family 24-hour protection after his wife was a victim of a violent street robbery, which is horrible. My God. We've had these stories before. Remember Di Maria's house with his family. and everything that was going on there, being robbed at the time. Honestly, like, there's no country that's safe from anything like this. But United looking after Andre and Anna, and hopefully the family isn't too traumatised by it, and she's okay. And this actually helps out a little bit. But that was news that was brought out earlier on by Chris Wheeler of the Daily Mail as well, which is sickening, to be honest. It really is. It's not nice at all, because whichever way you look at it, again, it just makes, and this could happen to any player, for instance, it puts them off. It puts them off actually being here. If the families are not safe and the families are not right, then it's never going to work. It's never going to work for them. And then you're never going to be able to convince anybody to stay around. It's crap. It really is. It really is. It was an expensive handbag, apparently. Manchester United scouts have been keeping an eye on Ian Subiabre. I say that name right. We have talked about this before. I think they're a bit late with this one. We've covered this and some already with Ian Subiabre. Manchester United are getting closer in terms of negotiations. Again, it looks like it's negotiation week, basically, doesn't it? Nearly every single report that we've read out tonight on the show and all of the updates are that representation is being met. And we're getting very, very close. 2 months before the end of the season. I'm happy. Well, it's less than 2 months actually now. Sorry. We're probably looking at about, 6 or 7 weeks left of the season right now. It's closing in, isn't it? So you'd expect Manchester United to be working behind the scenes and meeting up with agents and speaking to clubs and players. And I expect all of this to start bubbling up round about this time now. So, yeah, with that window opening as soon as the Premier League finishes, United, in fact, like we said this morning, straight off to Malaysia after the Aston Villa game to get 2 more games in before the window opens. And we all said this morning, the confirmation was that United would earn another 8 million from playing the 2 games in Malaysia. Then, yeah, we really are now knocking on the door of transfer season. And it does seem to be, like I said before, with Southampton down, you're now starting to get negotiations for Dibbling. With Wolves' season pretty much set in stone, all of a sudden, in the next few days, like Ben Jacobs says, we're talking to the likes of Matheus Cunha's representations and Liam Delap's. Rodrigo Mora, for instance, at Porto, Manchester United would need to know if he was gettable, if they were going to go in for him. I feel like the Rodrigo Mora one is United touching base to see if they can compete if we get Champions League football. Just my opinion on that one. But you need to be ready to go and move on anything as soon as the season is there, as soon as the season finishes and you are there in front of that window, knowing what your circumstances are. It'll be, can't go for him, can't go for him, can't go for him. Let's cross that box off. We're into this lot here. Let's get these deals done. And that's how it will work. And I think United, going off all of these reports anyway, are in position and are ready to go. And I feel like it is going to be a free-for-all. It really is going to be a free-for-all for every single player. There was news out earlier on as well regarding the Victor Osihmen situation from Rob Dawson from ESPN, just to keep you fully up to date with everything that is going on throughout the day, obviously. Victor Osihmen is targeting a move to the Premier League or Juventus this summer. He is available for 55.5 million. Osihmen is on Manchester United's shortlist for the summer window, but he has been leapfrogged by Liam Delap in part because of his salary. Osimhen's demands are expected to reach around 9.4 million a year after tax, and United are actively trying to bring down their wage bill this summer. It does look like the reasoning behind Liam Delap overtaking Osihmen as our number one striker target, as these reports have said, is because of his wage demands. That was always going to be the case with United. We can afford the fee, but can we afford to be bringing in another player that wants astronomical wages? 9.4 after tax is big. Is big. You're talking right up there with the highest earners at the football club with that one. I don't think United are going to be anywhere near that. Definitely not. And we know that they stand firm on their wage structure. I don't think if that is true on Osihmen and he wants to come United, he's not bothered about European football. There's plenty of boxes being ticked on this deal. But still, if United can't afford his wages, I can see this deal going by the by. And it won't be Osihmen. It will be Liam Delap. And that's what we're up against. We have a poll running right now just to test you out as well. Just put that in. Who you signing? Delap 40 million, Osihmen 55 million. Or should I say, who you buying? Osihmen 350 grand a week, Delap 70 grand a week. That's the difference. And if you want to look at it from a business side, it may change. If you want to look at it player quality wise, you pick Osihmen every single day of the week, don't you? You do. But you've got to look at every single situation. Like Subiabri, for instance. By the way, Sully, who was in the chat, he was the one who broke the news on Subiabri, and that was over a week ago. And you've seen us bring that news up. And Sully is in the chat tonight as well. So thank you for that, Sully, and that information back then. Well done in running with that, and your contacts who put you onto that story, mate. But obviously, Manchester United, I think, contingency-wise, have got their plan Bs. I did think that Osihmen was a plan A. I do think that in discussions he was, for Manchester United, top target. I believe that. I really do. But wage-wise, they're not going to do it, I don't think. I don't think they're going to buckle. I really don't. Whether or not they can give him some form of incentivized wages, I don't know if they're willing to go that far. They won't have to pay Liam Delap. I think Liam Delap was on around about 20 to 40 grand a week, something like that. It's what rings a bell. It may have been 20 grand, may have been in between 20 and 40. That's what he was on at Ipswich. Can you imagine that? Like, the difference in money. And I know quality comes before that, and it has to right now, and United need to get the right man in place. But still, wow, like seriously, that is a lot. And when you think about it properly, Ineos probably wouldn't go near that. They wouldn't. They're trying to get rid of everybody. But then again, when you also think about it, if you have got high earners at the club, then they have come out apparently in a report and saying like these high earners are going to be playing week in, week out. They have to be playing a lot of football if they're going to be earning that money. And I think that's what we're looking at here as well. I think that's also a play for Manchester United. Delap should be going to Sporting, not United in my view, but we are a bottom half of the table team, Jonathan, who might not be in Europe next season. So really, you could say, unless you're looking at Sporting being a better club than United, and that's got European football, and that's why you would go there and not United. If we're going down nostalgia road and the importance and the historical side of Manchester United, then you could argue that point, mate. But realistically, what are we saying? Like, Delap definitely is a more realistic target for Manchester United. Over 200 likes on the show, everybody. Thank you so much on that. Absolutely brilliant. Still a bit of time left to run yet. Make sure you have subscribed to Forever United TV as well. We keep on marching on. Let's get through a few more comments on the Delap and Osihmen situation. It's like, put yourself into Manchester United's shoes, for instance, right now. Forget about all of the hate and forget about everything else. You've got a player there that has got a little bit more Premier League experience, so you could get for 70 grand a week, who's had 12 Premier League goals this season, let's not forget. It's not too bad. And he's definitely going to help Manchester United go forward with our season. It definitely will. But what you've also got to look at there is you've got Delap 40, probably going to earn him, 60 to 80 grand a week wages, max if he comes, or Osihmen for 350. Which way would you go? Knowing that you've got Delap at 22, who you could probably say he's going to get better. I know you could say that about any player, but you've got to be thinking like that, haven't you? You've got to be thinking sell-on factor as well as a business, because United have not done that ever in a transfer window. And we're trying to do everything that the Glazers staff didn't do for the last decade and more, all in the first 2 seasons. And it seems a little bit chaotic, doesn't it? It does. It seems like we're trying to do a lot at once, but this is how football clubs run these days. And they have to be looking at the sell-on factor, the wages, the future planning, the value of the player. And at 40 million, that is definitely doable for Manchester United. And they would spend that on a player who's 22, knowing that they've got a good decade out of that player to come. Is he the right quality? That's the scouting side of it. But Wilcox likes him. Ruben Amorim likes him. And ultimately, that's what will make it happen. That's the sell right there. I would love United to win the Europa League, but I think we need to focus on the Premier League next season. As in getting back into the top 6, maybe. Yes, I agree with that one, Jonathan. But I would still like to win the Europa League. I would like to be part of the Champions League still. I think United could compete in it once we've got Ruben fully backed this summer and a team that actually knows what he's doing and we're a bit more of a settled outfit. I think he can compete and cause a problem. I mean, for instance, one second. Who would have thought Sporting would have been top of the table alongside Liverpool in the first 4 Champions League games of the season and absolutely destroying everything in their path? You looked at all of the team and you looked at the names. You're looking at them all and you're like, there's no one really there that is completely outstanding. Young players. We're all talking about young players not being enough. What about Kenda and what he was doing? You got Trincao there. You got Diamande there. You got plenty of players there. Gyökeres, who people know of, but are not exactly these right home about players, are they? It works when he's got his team. And he's one of them system coaches that needs the certain character of player to fit in it and work in it. And that, I think, is why Manchester United are looking at these players that we are right now. They're not your household blockbuster signings anymore. We're never going to be going down that road. We're not. Just to be clear on the watch-along later on for everybody as well, we are going to be dual streaming it for the first part as well. Then we're going to be moving everything over to Big Up as well. Pushing the Big Up watch-along platform tonight, everybody, from Football Talks. So we are going to be on both platforms just to integrate a few people across because there are things on Big Up that we just cannot do on YouTube, which are brilliant for the watch-alongs. So we want to do that. And I've got an announcement on Big Up tonight, which I'm going to be talking about in the second half of the Arsenal Madrid game as well. So make sure that you are involved in the watch along later, everybody, please. Okay. Right, let's get into a few more comments on these subjects. Anthony says, so we're not willing to pay big wages to a striker, which will help change the fortunes of our club, but we're paying astronomical wages to bang average players for years, only at Manchester United. Well, I get where you're going with that one, Anthony, but that's not really the case. It's not true. Because Ineos wouldn't have paid the astronomical wages to the players that we're talking about there from all of the years gone by. It's not going to happen under them. And none of the players that we brought in are on astronomical wages since Ineos have been in. So this is the changing now. We're not going to carry on doing what we did. The wages are not going to be there at United anymore. And we have all called this out and said that this needed to happen. We need to stand our ground and not pay stupid wages. And now we're in that position. We can't start complaining about it. We have to look at it and go, right, okay, we're going to have to take the pain of rebuilding from the bottom up here, I think. And that's where United are at, I feel. They're not going to pay these wages. And Osihmen could help the club. But what's more important to the future of this football club, setting the precedent now for all the youngsters to know and see these players are all leaving because they haven't earned their wages, and this is what you have to be to make it at United, or just go straight back where we was and pay someone absolute fortunes, like you said, Anthony. And that, I don't think is what... I don't think that is... they're not prepared to do it, basically. I would prefer Delap because of his Premier League experience. We can't afford yet another flop coming in from abroad. Ooh, strong words from Andrew there as well. David Koto says, sometimes it is necessary to spend that money to make the leap from terrible no-teeth team to something more. That's true. That's true. Red Terry 28, I don't think Ineos can risk Osihmen coming in and flopping on big wages on a lengthy contract. Yes, he's quality, but Premier League isn't made for everyone. So I think we'll go for Delap. I think you pretty much think, you're saying there how Ineos are thinking, mate. Really, Red Terry. I think that's exactly how they're looking at it. I think they're being real with what they're looking at for the future as well. And we don't know if Osimen's going to hit it off. We know that Delap has got experience now. Well, a season of it. And he's done all right. I mean, 12 Premier League goals? I'd snatch your hand off for that in my team right now. That would be the difference from United being where they are now and being in the top 6. And qualifying for Europe through our own league and not through the back door of the Europa League this season. That's Manchester United, I feel, right now. Because you add them extra goals to... a striker that's, say for instance, I mean, Rasmus Højlund this season I think what's he got? Maybe 2 in the Premier League this season. And then you've got Bruno Fernandes. That's it. I mean, Garnacho's got a few. There isn't much else. Like Xerxes probably got more than Rasmus Højlund in the league, I think, as well. Look, if you had another 10 goals to our striker, either Xerxes or Rasmus Højlund this season, alongside what Bruno's done as well, and the rest of what we've conjured up throughout the rest of the squad this season, that, for me, is United back in the Europa League places. That's United in top 6 right there. Them 10 goals are absolutely huge because you look, Manchester United haven't been battered. You look throughout this year, this calendar year, for instance, right now in the games, we lost 1-0 to Forest. There's a point or 3 points there with a couple of goals. City, there's another 2 points on top of the point that we got there. That's the difference. That puts us closer to top 10. And you look at the other games, on a knife edge in certain games with Brighton, and we didn't take our chances, and we ended up fluffing our lines because of an Arna. Crystal Palace, again, game, not taking chances. These tight games that we lost are all because Manchester United didn't have a finisher in the side, and we didn't have them goals. And we missed chances. We missed. There's a glorious chance that Rasmus Højlund missed against Arsenal. There's a glorious chance he also missed against Liverpool when he was clean through with Alisson. They're the differences. All of a sudden there you've got 5 or 6 points more, and that's Manchester United then effectively into the top 10 near enough. And you can talk about the other games then after that, and realistically United are in amongst that mix of teams like Villa and Brighton all of a sudden. And the season changes instantly. We just don't have a goal scorer. We don't have a goal scorer. And Liam Delap, I think, would have made a difference this season for United if he performed the way he did for Ipswich. That's the difference in what you've got, honestly. Having a striker that scores. Look at bleeding Chris Wood. Who'd have thought that he'd be up there? Who'd have thought that Brian Mbeumo would be keeping Brentford afloat? If Brentford didn't have Brian Mbeumo's goals this season, they'd be fighting relegation. They would. Chris Wood, without him, good strikers are gold. Absolute gold. Look at City with bleeding Haaland. If they didn't have Haaland's goals, when he just pops up and scores every now and then and wins them a game, and we can criticise him for everything that he does in terms of gameplay and what he's involved in throughout the game, yeah, that's great. But him, Wood, Salah, Isaac, you take these strikers away, and you can't because they're part of the team. And it's that stupid saying, innit? If you didn't have him, you'd be nowhere. Well, you've got him. And that's the freaking difference. Because they have got him, and they have got these strikers, they are where they are. But United didn't recruit the right players. And that will always be our fall. And that will always be the argument against us. And I feel like that's where our reality is. Without a striker, we ain't going to move. You need that goal scorer. Every team who's got one is right up there and are a bit more consistent than what we are. You can go up to, like, looking at, if Chelsea had a striker, my God, they'd be challenging for the title. They just don't score enough goals. Again, they need a striker. Arsenal, they'd have won the league if they had a striker. Stupid recruitment. But the teams that have got that top striker, look where they are in the league. Even if they're not playing as good a football, because they've got that striker, they are in with a chance. I think United, with a decent striker this season, would be definitely looking at European football by the end of it. If we buy Delap, the free, we will... What's that? If we buy Delap, the free we will pay... the fee we pay... Sorry, not free. The fee we will pay will mean... no sell-on value. I don't think we can buy from other Premier League clubs and have a sell-on value. Say again. So if we buy Delap, the fee we'll pay. The fee we will pay will mean no sell-on value. Yeah, we will. We'll have sell-on value, mate, because he's 22, and that fee is paid off within the first 4 years of his contract. And you're expecting a 22-year-old to actually see that contract out. That's the difference. That's why they're buying them young. So 4 years in, fees paid. 4 instalments, done. Then United have got all of the profit to think of if they want to sell him, and he may be worth 50 or 60 million. So that is 50 or 60 million profit for United, rather than taking off the payments that we're talking about now. For instance, Rasmus only being 2 years in, 75 million. We're only 2 years into paying that fee, so we can't sell him unless we sell him for 50 million. But Delap, I feel they're looking at him and saying, that's a player that's going to be there for a few more years. It is value, and there is sell-on value in Delap if it comes to it. And all of the younger players that are in right now. In fact, there is sell-on value in the likes of Joshua Zirkzee, if he stays another year. Look, there is this sell-on value now in Jadon Sancho because he's seen out his contract. And that's the difference. That's PSR for you. And let's not forget as well, PSR changes after this summer. After this season coming up. So that is something that we also need to look at and take into consideration. But that is your show, fully up to date, everybody, with everything going on. Thank you so much for all of your comments. There's a chance we might make 300 live likes, actually, which is fantastic. If you could all give the video a like on the way out if you like the show. Thought it was very informative, if I do say so myself. I'm only joking. I had a fight with a wasp. I gave you all the up-to-date transfer information, and I'm back later on for watch-alongs on Football Talks, and big up later on, everybody, as well. So, please do get commenting below, give the video a like on the way out, make sure you have subscribed to Forever United TV. Thank you, mods in the chat. Welcome along all new members. Fantastic to have you in and amongst it. Gifted as well today from London, and there was one more before the show started that I can't remember. But that's our show done and completed, everyone. Thank you so much. You've all been legends again, as always. I'll see you in a bit for Arsenal getting beat by Real Madrid.